Gather close. Let me tell you a tale of a child who grew up like a seed in the earth, unnoticed by many, but destined to rise. A girl named Tiwi, poor as the dawn. They said she was nothing, but if you listen well, you will hear how a humble maid defeated and changed a village forever. But this tale is not just about Tiwi, but that of Olumide as well. Rich, proud and powerful, Olumide was born with the world at his feet. His family had ruled the land for generations, their estate sprawling over the hills and rivers, their names respected, their influence far-reaching. Olumide had everything he could desire, but his pride ran deep. Tiwi is an orphan. She is alone in the world. On this particular day, Tiwi walks down the narrow dirt path to the grand estate of Olumide's family, where she works as a servant. The contrast between Tiwi's humble worn clothing and the grandeur of the mansion with its marble floor and expensive decor is as visible as the day. As she enters the wealthy abode, Oga Olumide, her boss and his friends are lounging lazily on velvet cushions. Tiwi's quiet footsteps barely makes a sound as she approaches. Olumide said, "Here she is, the great Tiwi. Have you come to grace us with your presence? Do you have the wisdom of the ages, or are you just here to serve us today?" His friends laughed, and Tiwi rolled her eyes, though she remained polite. Tiwi said, "I have come to serve, but not with my back, Oga Olumide. I have a much sharper tool, and that is my mind." Olumide laughed hysterically. He said, "Your mind? Oh, please, Tiwi. You can't even get your words straight half the time. Go fetch me some water. Show us the brilliance of your labor." Tiwi picks up a jug of water and walks out of the room. Suddenly, Olumide said, "Come back here, Tiwi. The little village bird. Tell me, Tiwi, do you ever wonder why we have everything and you don't have anything? You should be grateful, really. To work for me, you should be very grateful and thank me every day. What would you do without me or my family generosity?" Tiwi sets the fruit table down in front of Olumide and his friends, who eye her as if she were an insect beneath their boots. She stands tall. Calmly, she responded, "I am not grateful for crumbs, Oga Olumide. I would rather have the land beneath my feet than the riches your family stole from it." There is a silence. The room goes still for a moment. Olumide laughed. "You talk like you know something, Tiwi. What do you know? You are just a maid. Go fetch me some water right away." Tiwi turns and replies, "I know enough, Oga Olumide. Enough to see that the land is thirsty. You are too busy drinking from your golden cup to care. One day, the land will speak, and it won't be to you." Olumide laughs, dismissing her words with a wave. But Tiwi walks out. Outside in the distance, she sees a small group of villagers walking out in the fields. Their backs bent. Her heart aches for them. Later that night, Tiwi is walking home through the woods. She is tired. As Tiwi walks through the dense forest to fetch some water, she encounters Mama Titi, an older woman who lives near the village. Mama Titi is weaving baskets by a small fire. "Mama Titi," she said, "Tiwi the firecracker. What trouble have you caused now? Those rich children are not kind, are they?" Tiwi smiled and walked towards Mama Titi. Mama Titi kindly said, "My dear Tiwi, why do you walk with the weight of the world? But I see something different in your eyes. What troubles you? Tell me, my child." Tiwi sits beside her. She said, "They call me names, Mama Titi. Mock me for walking while they sit idle. I'm tired of it. I am more than this. But what can a poor maid like me do?" Tiwi said bitterly, "Mama Titi, I am tired. Tired of being told I am nothing. Tired of watching my people suffer while the rich takes everything. I am smarter than them all combined. Yet they treat me like dirt. What if there is no place for me? What if I'm just meant to serve?" Mama Titi reaches out and touches Tiwi's hand. Her grip firm and wise. She said, "Ah, Tiwi, you are no maid, my child. Do not be fooled by the surface of things. The soil, the trees, the wind, they all know you. You will rise, but not without a price. You are a leader, though the land is still teaching you how to lead, but it will not be easy. You will face pain, but you must not bend." Amatiti speaks softly, almost as if telling its secret. She continues, "There is strength in your words, my child. One day, the villagers will look up to you, not for work, but for guidance. But for now, you must prepare, learn, watch, and listen. So when the time comes, you will change everything." Amatiti pauses her walk, her eyes narrowing as she looks at Tiwi with deep understanding. Tiwi's eyes flash with a mixture of disbelief and hope. Skeptically, Tiwi said, "You speak in riddles, Mama Titi. What do I do with a heart full of fire when the world treats me like dust?" Mama Titi laughed and responded, "You do not fight with fist, my dear. You fight with wisdom, with patience, and when the time is right, the world will listen to you. But remember this, the storm comes before the harvest." Tiwi is silent. Her heart stirred but still unsure as Mama Titi finished weaving the basket. She hands it to Tiwi with a knowing look. She said, "Carry this basket, Tiwi, but one day you will carry much more." Tiwi looked at her confusingly. Weeks later, Tiwi goes to the grand mansion as usual. Olumide, in an attempt to further humiliate Tiwi, orders Tiwi to climb a steep hill. Olumide grinned and said, "My dear Tiwi, come here. You seem to know everything, right? So let's see if you can climb that mountain and bring me the sacred flower. If you can't do it, I won't be surprised. Then I will just call you a fool and send you back to your hut." Tiwi's eyes narrow with defiance. Her pride is wounded. Without hesitation, she accepts. Tiwi smiled. "I will bring you the flower, Oga Olumide, but be careful what you wish for." She turns and walks away. As she climbs the steep hill, you could see the determination on her face. Sweat beads on her forehead and her feet sore, but she pushes forward. As she climbs the hill, the wind picks up. She stumbles once, but catches herself. Sweat drips from her brow, but her determination keeps her going. Olumide screamed from below, "Tiwi, hurry up with it. Bring me the sacred flower already. Let's see if your feet are as quick as your mouth." The higher Tiwi climbs, the stronger the winds blow. Tiwi keeps assuring herself, "I will not fall. The land has seen me, and it will not let me fail." As Tiwi reaches the top of the hill, the ground beneath her feet shakes. She looks down at the roots of the sacred flower, which are entwined with old bones, perhaps from her ancestors. She plucks the flower, but just as she begins to descend, the earth shakes beneath her. A loud rumble sounds from deep within the earth. Tiwi loses her footing. She slips and tumbles, rolling down the hill. Her leg cuts on a rock. Her leg is injured, and she lies in the dirt, gasping for breath. Tiwi screams in pain. Her body bruised. Her breath remains shallow. Tiwi reassured herself once more, "I will not fail." Olumide and his friends, watching from the mansion, laughs cruelly as Tiwi struggles. He sees her in pain but feels no sympathy. Olumide said as he walked towards Tiwi, "I told you you would fail. Look at her, a poor servant, nothing more." He laughs. "Madam Tiwi, the great one, see your life. This is where you belong, on the ground. What a shame. Just looking at you hurts my eyes. Ew!" Olumide yells at a male servant, "Prepare my bath immediately." He grabs the flower from Tiwi, threw them on the ground and stomps on it. Satisfied with himself, Olumide walks off with his friends, with no care in the world. While Tiwi struggling to get up, she looks up at the sky. The clouds swirling above her. Mama Titi's words echoes in her ears. You will face pain before glory, my child. Tiwi struggles to stand, her leg throbbing with pain. As she limps away from the mansion, Olumide's laughter echoes in her ears. But Tiwi doesn't stop. She hobbles to the edge of the forest. She stumbles back to her hut. Her heart heavy, but something inside her shifts. She has had enough. The following day, Tiwi slowly stands, her body aching, but her spirit rising. She doesn't give in. She limps back to the village to resume her work at the mansion. And so life continues. Few weeks later, with Tiwi sneaking out to meet with the villagers one early morning, her once injured leg has healed and now she carries with her a plan for change. Tiwi addressing the villagers in a secret meeting. The land has been neglected and so have you. But there is wisdom in these fields. If we work together, we can restore what was lost. I have learned the way of the earth and I will teach you. Together we will strive. The villagers listen intently, their eyes wide with wonder. Tiwi begins teaching them ancient farming methods, how to read the weather and how to grow crops that can withstand the changing seasons. A sense of hope rises among them. Back to Olumide's estate, where his family's crops have begun to fail. Olumide watches from a distance, growing worried as his wealth crumbles. He looks over at Tiwi, who is now standing tall, a leader among the villagers. Olumide muttered to himself, but confused. What is this? What rubbish is she doing? As the storm clouds gather over Eko Akete, Tiwi continues to work in secret. She meets with the villagers, teaching them how to plant crops that can survive the harsh weather, how to preserve their harvest, and how to read the signs of nature. And so, the villagers plant new crops, and for the first time in years, they see the fruits of their labor grow strong and plentiful. Months after the celebration of the harvest, the prosperity of the village Eko Akete seems assured. But as time passes, Olumide's life begins to unravel. The once bustling village is now filled with whisper of betrayal, greed, and the strain of secrets long buried. Olumide's mansion, once a symbol of power and wealth, is now a crumbling edifice. The crops that once flourished under his careful stewardship have withered. Despite his strength, Olumide's leadership has faltered. His decisions have alienated the villagers and caused deep rifts. The resources he had once promised to share and the land he had vowed to protect have been mismanaged and exploited. As night falls, Olumide walks through his abandoned estate. His eyes reflect the weight of guilt and sorrow. Olumide said to himself, I once believed I could control it all. I thought I could hold the village, the land, the future in my hands, but now I see the truth. It was never mine to hold. Olumide, now isolated and shattered by his failures, seeks guidance. Olumide calls out desperately to Tiwi. Tiwi, I have failed. I surrender. I did not heed the warnings. I took the land. I took the people. And I did not give back. Yes. So what now? Is there any hope for me? There is silence, and the wind dies down. Slowly, Tiwi steps out. She looks upon Olumide with a mixture of sadness and understanding. Calmly, she said, you were once a beacon of hope, Olumide, but now you became blinded by the very thing you sought to control. The land, the people, they do not belong to you. You ask if there is hope, but hope is not a gift to be given. It is something that must be earned. You must show the land that you are willing to give, not just take. Only then will you be free from this cause of loss. Olumide, on his knees, now trembling with shame, looks to Tiwi as she speaks. The villagers you abandoned, they are suffering as much as you. So please stop with the drama. Your choices have not only ruined you, but them. The heart remembers all. It does not forget the promises you made and broke. Desperately, Olumide said, "What can I do now, Tiwi? What can I do? How can I make amends, Tiwi? I have nothing left. My pride is gone. My power, everything, it's all gone." "You must give," Olumide said Tiwi. "You must sacrifice all that you are. Only then will the land accept you." And so, Olamide does. He returns to the villagers, his reputation shattered, but his resolve as firm as stone. He does not ask for forgiveness. He simply begins to walk. He tills the lands alongside them, working with his hands, learning again the value of labor, humility, and sacrifice. As day passes, the villagers and Tiwi slowly begin to see the change in Olumide. His leadership is no longer one of authority, but of service. He no longer demands respect, but earns it through action. The crops begin to heal. The once barren fields begin to show signs of life. Olumide is no longer the ruler of the land, but a humble servant to it. A year later, a new crisis threatens. A rival village seeks to take Ekwakete's land. The villagers, still wary but beginning to trust Olumide, look to him for leadership once again. The moment is tense. The rival village marches towards them, their intentions clear. Olumide stands before the villagers, ready to defend the land and the people he had once taken for granted. But this time, he does not wield a sword or command an army. He steps forward with an open heart, ready to speak, but with Tiwi by his side. Olumide reassured the villagers. He said, "I will not fight with force. We will face this as the community, as one. The land will protect us if we protect it." Tiwi nods in approval. And so the villagers gather behind Olumide, ready to stand beside him. Together they meet the rival villagers. The rival villagers, moved by the strength of the Ekwakete people and their commitment to the land, they withdraw. Olumide stands tall, not as a ruler, but as the leader who has earned his place in the hearts of the people. The sun rises over Ekwakete and the village flourishes once more. The crops are bountiful, the land healed. The villagers sing in triumph, their voices carried across the fields. And so, the legacy of Olumide and Tiwi is cemented, not in wealth or power, but in the lasting bond between them and the people of Ekwakete. Tiwi of Ekwakete, a name, is now a legend. I will leave you with these words. The land is not for anyone to command. It is for everyone to care for, to give back to. In giving, we receive. In balance, we find strength. The greatest power is not in taking, but in serving. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next episode. Odabo. The end.